Good morning. Hopefully, this is our last cold night. I just came out and uncovered everything that I could think of to cover, and I'm just really hoping that today is the day that we can plant. Courtney and I are very much looking forward to it. Many excited gifts have gone back and forth about how excited we are to plant today. So, hopefully, this was our last cold night. I don't think that it froze last night. But the night before definitely froze. I came out and there was ice on that blanket that I put over the potatoes and on the blankets that I put on the peas. But I don't think that it froze last night. I don't think it got quite cold enough. So really excited to get started on 2025's summer garden. I mean, as you can see, I have lots in the garden already, and that's why I came out and covered it up. All the stuff that I really didn't want to lose, I came and covered up last night and the night before, just to ensure that they were okay, and I'm so glad that I did that. But, so I had covered up the dill and the peas. I know peas are cold hardy, but they are not frost hardy, meaning that if it frosts, if it actually freezes, they definitely get damaged. And I did not want to slow down my peas whatsoever. It is starting to get warm, and I know that I just said that it froze last night. Let me give you a little bit of context to that. The week before last, it was in the 80s, like high 80s, 89, 87. So if it gets too warm, the peas are just going to die, essentially. So I'm trying to keep them alive as long as possible because we love some sweet peas in our garden. But I'm really excited. I think today is the day that I'm going to plant this bed out with peas and flowers, not peas, beans and flowers. So I'm so excited about that. And I'm just so excited about this garden space. This will be the first year that I'm really gardening in this space in the summer garden. Actually, this will be the first year that I'm gardening in this space in the summer garden. So I'm so excited, really looking forward to it. Thought I would bring you guys out here this morning. It is so beautiful. The birds are singing. The chickens are mad that I haven't let them out yet. It's just beautiful. And I thought I would tell you a little bit about how I protected my plants. I know I saw lots of questions on my groups and stuff on how, like, what you do when you're going to get a late frost. This is the first year that I have learned my lesson. The last 3 years, I think, I've planted when it gets 87 out. I'm just like, oh my goodness, the time is now to plant all of my things, and like I'm so excited to get into the garden. And then the last 3 years we've had this late frost, and I have been scrambling trying to cover lots of beds of little teeny tiny sprouts of tomatoes and zinnias and just like all the frost tender things. So this year I learned my lesson and I waited, and I'm so grateful that I did. Because it wasn't as stressful this time. I had just a couple things I had to come out here and cover. Really all you have to do, like I just covered mine with pots and buckets and kids' toys, and I know Courtney said that she covered hers with her kids' beach buckets and blankets, sheets. You can even cover them with a little bit of mulch or a lot of mulch, just depending. Don't put so much on it that it's gonna crack them or break them off. But just as long as they're covered from the dew resting on them and then the freezing temperature coming in and freezing the dew, you should be okay. Granted, if it's going to get really low, sadly, there's nothing that you can do. Like if it's going to get into the 20s, but the 20s, there's really nothing you can do to protect your plant from that except for a greenhouse and a heater. But I know one year, the very first year that this happened to me, I went and got some of those hot hands. I don't know. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I hope you do. They make them for everywhere now. Good morning. That sound comes from the smallest little bird called a house wren. I think it's a house wren. It might not be the house wren. I think the house wren is white and black. But this little bird is maybe this big, tail included, and it makes the loudest noises. When I first moved here, I was just like, what type of big bird is in my yard? It's not big, it's very small. Hot hands. And I put them underneath these pots. Like I hung them, where's the pot? Ooh, right there. I hung the hot hands with a string from the hole in the pot. So the hot hand was just hanging out in the pot itself. And then I put it over there with a brick. So that I was hoping that I would increase the temperature of the pot. And it seemed to work. I mean, it could have just been the pot that had really helped. But, you know, all efforts to save plants. All right, let's go let the chickens out. Hello, Mighty. Are you in doggy jail because you like to go visit the neighbor's dog? Nope. Get back here. Hey. Get in. Mighty. In the backyard, dude. He has acres and acres of property, and he decides that it's a good idea to go play in the street right there. Hey, good morning, girls. What did you find? That's not an egg, is it? I think it's an egg. I think it's the one there was one right there earlier. I redid the tarp on the chicken coop because the other one was old. Oh, I'm gonna close this first. Whoa, kid. Okay, we're out in the garden again. It is later in the day, closer to noon. Thankfully, the sun went away just for a little bit. And I'm planting beans and zinnias and potatoes. So you're gonna see me plant some beans in this bed and some zinnias. And now I'm looking around and I'm trying to figure out where else I'm going to plant zinnias. I need to go back in and go through my seeds again and see exactly what I have to plant because I have this little bin of stuff and I'm quickly running out of garden space. I am gardening in less space than I normally do because I haven't built all of the beds that I'm going to have in this space.
Okay, so here I'm just getting the bed ready. I really heavily mulched this bed because it had been a little while, a couple weeks since I had finished putting the soil in this bed, and I did not want the weeds to get established. It's perfect weed growing weather here where it's beginning to be really nice. We're getting little rains and it's just exploded all of the weeds in the grass. So I'm just trying to figure out where exactly my rows of beans are going to be, and I want to take as much advantage of all the space in this bed that I can. So I'm going to put the first row pretty close to the edge. That way their roots will have plenty of space, but then they'll be able to actually fall kind of over onto the cinder blocks a little bit and give me a little bit more space in the middle row. So that's what I'm doing here, just breaking up any clumps of soil that I have and moving the wood chips out of the way. Now these wood chips are very broken down at this point. Some of them are actually kind of soil at the bottom layers of my big pile of wood chips. So they are well broken down. We had an arborist that was trimming the trees for the city come by, and I asked if they wouldn't mind dumping some of their wood chips, and they ended up dumping a lot of wood chips. So I have a very, very large pile, and it has been sitting there since last summer. So here I am just making a little trench. I believe these bean seeds say to plant them an inch deep, and that's roughly what this is. So I'm just making two little trenches here, and I'm going to just plot my bean seeds right in those trenches. Now I have two varieties of bean seeds. I have Johnny's Seeds Provider bush beans, which are green, and then I have the Goldilocks bush beans, which are yellow wax beans, and I love both of these varieties. I got two big packs a couple years ago, and they still perform amazingly. Their germination rate is really good. So that is what I'm planting. I did the green on the far end and the yellow closest to us here. So I did them about an inch apart. Some of them I dropped a couple seeds in the one spot, and that's not a big deal. With it going further away from the time that I bought them, their germination rate does potentially go down just a little bit. So planting just a few more in each hole is okay. Although I don't want to plant more. I don't want to plant too many because then if they all come up, then I'm faced with having to kill plants, and I very much struggle with that. I know I'm being extreme. So here I'm just covering them back up, and then I'm pressing it down really well. Now here I planted all the way at the back of this bed. I planted pink gladiolus bulbs, and I'm pretty sure I planted them on each end and in the middle, but I wasn't able to remember exactly where. So you're seeing me being like, where did I plant those again? And so I'm just trying to remember. And so I'm taking the mulch off just because I just did not have enough room to put the mulch somewhere. And then, see, I'm putting zinnia, those zinnia varieties in those two spots. So I'm going to have gladiolus, zinnia, and gladiolus in the back, which is going to be really beautiful with a nice green lush front. And then I am just sprinkling, I'm creating like a little spot, pulling the soil away, and then sprinkling the seed, and then I'm gonna sprinkle the soil back over it and press it down really hard. I say really hard. I'm gonna press it down to compact it a little bit so the seeds stay in place. And then I sit there and I say, if those gladiolus don't pop up, it's gonna be kind of empty and weird. So I went ahead and decided to put zinnias all along this back little section. And I'm really glad that I did, because even if the gladiolus does, or when the gladiolus pops up, gladiolus, especially in its first year, is really tall and skinny, and it's really not going to be very bothered by the zinnias being there. So I am going to put zinnias all in this spot, and I just sprinkle kind of a mixture of the two packs in this spot and call it a day. It's going to be beautiful. These zinnia packs are from the dollar store. I know I've mentioned in other videos, if you're sleeping on the dollar store, you should go check them out. So now I piled up this big pile of wood chips, and Courtney actually told me about this method, and she did it in her garden, and they started to pop up. So I had these potatoes that I got from the food bank while we were volunteering one day, and I said, you know what, I think I'm just going to go ahead and plant these. Instead of eating them, they're a perfect size, so I put them in a little spot and let them sprout a little bit, and then I'm just putting them in wood chips. And I don't know how this is going to go. I have never done this before. This is actually the first year that I've even heard of doing it. I have heard of doing potatoes in straw bales, so I mean, this can't be that different. So I figured, why not? I have the space, and I have the wood chips, and I have the potatoes, so I just piled a bunch of wood chips up here and buried the potatoes. Now, I don't know whether these are determinate or indeterminate variety of potato, because they just came from a grocery store. So whether I'm going to continue to mound them is undetermined at this point. But they're in a good bit of wood chips. It's a good foot of wood chips here, 12 inches or so. So then I'm just covering them all back up, and I leave them alone. So now I'm watering in the seeds. So this is the beans and the zinnia bed, and I'm just watering them, giving them a good water. And now we're moving on to blueberries. I am so excited about this. I have been waiting years to buy blueberries, and just waiting for really God to present the right blueberries as well as the right price. I've been watching Facebook Marketplace and nurseries and all of that to try to get a good price on blueberries, and everybody just wants an arm and a leg for a blueberry plant, and I just cannot bring myself to pay $40 or $50 for a blueberry plant that I might kill. So I have been waiting patiently for a couple years, and found these at a local garden center who is on their, I think, third generation of sons or family members, and I just love that. I was so excited to not only support that business, but find blueberry plants at a much more reasonable price, and they said that these are going to perform this year as far as fruit. So I was so excited about that. So this particular variety is called Pink Lemonade. The kids were very, very excited about the prospect of having pink lemonade blueberries, and so we got this one. Originally, I only got 3 blueberry plants, but then I got home and was really excited to share it with a friend, and he proceeded to say, okay, wait, did you get ones that pollinate each other? And I said, yeah, I asked that. And he said, no, you should just double check, look up, what varieties pollinate best to other varieties. And I said, okay, I'll do that. So thank the Lord, I had 2 of the varieties that pollinated each other really well, but the pink lemonade wasn't going to pollinate with these other 2 varieties that I got. So I looked up what was going to pollinate well with the pink lemonade, and I went back to the same garden center, and there was one little bush of the one that it was going to pollinate really well with. So God is so good, and I'm so grateful, and I'm so excited about these blueberries, and they're all covered with flowers right now. So hopefully we will be able to eat off of these little bushes as early as this year, but if not, that's okay. They are going to, Lord willing, provide lots and lots of berries for years to come. I'm so excited. The kids were asking if they can eat the blueberries off of them, and I said, absolutely, that's why I bought them. I want you to be able to walk out into the yard, pick all the snacks you want, and not have to go to the grocery store for them. So this is the section, and I don't really know. I mean, I did it at least 6 foot apart each way, and I just did it in a square. And then here I'm just showing you the varieties. So this is the blue crop blueberry, and then next to that, I think this one is going to be sunshine blue. Yeah, sunshine blue. So the sunshine blue pollinates really well with the pink lemonade, which is this one, and then the other 2 varieties pollinate each other really well. And I buried the tag. And Mighty wanted some attention. He found this ball in the woods, and I think it's my friend's dog's ball. And so he's really excited about that. So gave that a chuck for him. And then the last one is Blue Jay Blueberry. And I just tipped it over to see what the planting guide was, make sure I hadn't messed it up completely. And then I went ahead and mulched. Now, here, this one particular one, I didn't lay anything down as a weed barrier before the mulch. And then after I did it, I thought to myself, man, I am going to be fighting this grass. This is basically our lawn. And so I stopped and then rethought the process. I laid a whole bunch of cardboard down, and I'm just going to mulch this entire section so that my husband doesn't even have to worry about trying to get in and around the berry bushes with the lawnmower or having to weed eat. So I'm just mulching this whole section for the berries, and hopefully that will keep the weeds down as well as the grass. The grass is what we really fight. We have crabgrass. I think it's crabgrass, and actually vines. And so I wanted to make sure that it was as easy as possible for him to mow around it and care for the lawn around it. Sometimes I have a little bit more mulching to do in this area, but it's raining today, so it's not going to get done today. It will be a different day's finished project, but as of now, that is it for this video, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next one.